Hey friends, it's Brigie from Boujee, Texas Barbecue, and today we're gonna make some traditional Texas-style barbacoa. So let's talk about prepping the beef cheeks. I got these beef cheeks from my local grocery store, and I actually got lucky because they were already pre-trimmed. I want to trim down any unnecessary fat. When it comes to seasonings, you can keep it basics because all the flavor comes from the beef cheek itself. Salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, a little bit of ground comino, and all-purpose rub is all you really need. I also drizzled some avocado oil to use as a binder for this specific cook. This specific batch just needed some extra help keeping the seasonings on. Now we're just gonna flip them over, repeat the steps, and head outside. Now that we're outside, let's heat up our smoker. Today I'm using Oklahoma Joe's signature charcoal blend, as well as some mesquite wood chips for that authentic Tex-Mex flavor. This is going to be a long smoke, so make sure you fill the hopper up to the max line. Now we're going to open up the vents and add our tumbleweeds. Just a pro tip when it comes to the Tahoma 900, before you lock everything up, let your tumbleweeds breathe a little bit. That way there's enough oxygen to start your fire. Even though this video is about barbacoa, I'm actually going to add some charro beans. It's a great way to utilize your smoker, and this is also going to help keep our beef cheeks moist throughout the cook. If you haven't tried smoked charro beans, aka Mexican style beans, you're truly missing out. Don't worry, I'm also including that ingredient list down below as well. Now that my Tahoma 900 has finished preheating, it's time to add our beef cheeks. You want to make sure the beef cheeks have space in between so the bark will form properly. Also, since some of the beef cheeks are bigger than others, I'm placing the bigger ones on the hotter spots of the smoker. Now we can close the lid, smoke them at 275 for 4 hours. After 4 hours, our beef cheeks got as much smoke as they can. Now it's time to braise. I'm gonna braise them in a mixture of beef broth, Mexican oregano, and some bay leaves. Growing up in a Hispanic household in Texas, this is exactly what we did to our beef cheeks. Braising the beef cheeks is not gonna remove any smoke flavor. It's just gonna help them get tender. Braising them will also enhance the flavor of the beef cheek. Since we did not spritz the first 4 hours, you want to make sure you moisten all sides of the beef cheeks before you cover them. It's essential to make sure the bark is moist. Now let's talk about the additional cook time. If you keep the current temperature of 275 degrees, it can range anywhere from 3 to 4 hours. But if you are on a time crunch, you can absolutely bump the temperature up to 300 degrees. It should speed up the process from 3 to 4 hours to 2 to 3 hours. Either way, make sure you seal them nice and tight. For my batch of beef cheeks, I kept it at 275 and they were done in 4 hours, and so were my charro beans. The internal temp ranged from 202 to 205 per beef cheek. Of course, the internal temps were all different because they were all different sizes. There was also no resistance as I probed them. Now let's talk about resting our beef cheeks. I did pull them out of the broth and let them rest for a couple hours before shredding. Remember, smoked beef should be rested properly. So I waited till it dropped to an internal temp of 150 degrees before shredding. Trust me, I understand waiting for the internal temperature to drop can definitely be a pain, but allowing your smoked beef to rest properly eliminates the chances of you shocking your smoked beef, which ultimately results in your meat tightening back up. And when it comes to shredded beef, that's the last thing you want. You want it to melt in your hands just like this, regardless of what kind of beef you're actually shredding. So I'm going to move these other beef cheeks to the side just to show you how little effort I need to shred these cheeks. When it comes to beef cheeks, whether you're slicing, shredding, or even if you decide to eat it whole, it should melt in your hand or in your mouth. Alright, now it's time to feed into our intrusive thoughts and shred the rest of our beef cheeks. And just because this is beef doesn't mean it can't be light and fluffy. I also forgot to mention how pretty the smoke ring is. Even though the smoke ring has nothing to do when it comes to taste, I just feel it makes food look 100 times better. But anyways, there's only one thing left to do. It's time to build our taco. Now, to keep it Texas style, you're gonna add a heaping amount of beef cheeks. Next, you're gonna add some finely minced onions and cilantro, and you can't forget to add some freshly squeezed lime. And of course, I had to show you how the charro beans came out. Well, that pretty much wraps up this video. Till next time guys, enjoy.